Tibbetts here, and I'm going to teach you one of the core fundamentals of our system, and it's called the spear. Jeff Thompson from England originally came it up as far back as I can trace. I met Tony Blauer in the early 90s, and his spear is spontaneous protection, enabling accelerated response. Whew, it's like scuba acronym. And then, and he does it from the flinch a lot. He's taught me a lot. I was fortunate enough to know him during that time and really influenced a lot of my training. It blends really well with simple Arnis and Kali techniques and a few other Israeli things that we do as well. So we kind of use this as our core empty hand technique. And the spear is really cool because if I do it correctly, well, it's a non-violent posture that does witness prep, meaning that if I'm here with Jason and I have my hands up and not too far apart, I don't want my fingers apart because then the tensile strength in my hands, it's too flexible and either he's gonna break them or come back over the top. So I'm protecting my center line wherever I end up. As at the ATM and I'm trying to put away my wallet, whatever it might be, that's where I start. But it's always my center line. It's always about chin height. Because if you look, if I did, whoa, that doesn't look martial arty, right? If anybody saw that, they'd be like, he was just trying to talk to the guy and calm the guy down. I'm trying to de-escalate. De-escalate means I don't challenge this person. You don't want to do this. You don't know who you're messing with. You know, you're making a big mistake. So now what I'm doing is I'm telling the bad guy that they're wrong. We all love to hear we're wrong, right? No. So when we do this technique, I really want him to think that, hey, I've got an easy mark, right? Really easy. I always like it to the acronym that if I was playing a kid's pickup game of flag football, right? And an NFL player was playing their sport as well. They were playing football, pro, probably for the Seahawks. It's a great team. So anyways, the NFL player gets called down to the charity event and goes, hey, it's not tackle, but we're playing flag football. Do you mind stepping down and coming in and just, you know, doing this for charity? The pro football player would be like, yeah, no problem. He'd go down there and he'd know he can't tackle and he'd be careful and he could shut that part of himself off so he wasn't, you know, running through 9-year-olds and people were flying all over the place because he was, you know, wanted to win that bad. He would be able to adapt to a situation. If I was a professional flag football player and the NFL called me and goes, Master Tibbetts, I have never seen anybody run so slow in my entire life. That's got to be good. And they draft me, right? And so I'm there, and the first day I get ready and I start looking for everybody's flags so I could pull them, and I'm getting laid out. I'm going to say that if I prepare for the worst case scenario, the easier scenarios are going to be nothing. If I practice for an easy scenario and a weapon or a knife is introduced and I don't practice that everybody carries that, I'm in big trouble. I've got a really bad situation. So when I'm doing this with Jason, he's always armed. He always has either a gun or a knife. I don't assume. I give him both because I don't know what he might carry. And then I factor in drug, alcohol, or mental illness. Right? So there's obviously other levels of violence we can look at too. Violence is somewhat predictable. It usually happens in somewhat certain areas during certain times. The bad guy already has a plan. You know, they want your body, your money, your life, you know, your property or something else, or maybe a family member. So there's always a motive to that person. And the other ones there might not be. So that's what I mean by predictable. So when my hands are up, I have my center line here protected, that if he decided to go straight down my center line, I'm going to naturally flinch and I'm going to crash forward. What happens is the scenario will always dictate the action, meaning that if I try and do a technique, if I'm really technique specific, and all right, Jason grabs here, and this is the lock I do every time because it's on my right side, it's a low on my body, this is how I'm going to do it. What happens is if Jason grabs with the other hand, let's say, and I go, oh yeah, now it's number 7 I got to do. If you don't practice with good resistance, Jason's not letting me do that, and he's punching me in the head while I'm trying to get this number 7 lock to work or whatever it might be, I'm in trouble. Well, let's say I do know the lock. Jason grabs me here. Oh, I know this one. This is how I flow right into it. But I'm going upstairs. Or I was closing my door, and as I was closing, somebody reached through and grabbed me. Now that technique doesn't know what to, I don't know what to do. I froze because nature abhors a vacuum, meaning I didn't know what to do because I didn't recognize the stimulus. The stimulus happened. I didn't recognize it because of how he grabbed me and where I was. So for me, this basic spear allows me the advantage to control a strike, and then where I go from there depends on the scenario. So when I'm